I took a little hiatus to finish off the snowboard season. Anyways, we are back, and so basically all this stuff I bought a year ago. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I bought this stuff a year ago, and I just have put it off because I know how much of a pain the install is going to be. I mean, I literally built a whole Land Cruiser in the meantime, and I just don't want to take the interior apart. I'm lazy. Either way, we're going to get down to it, get some of this stuff out of the garage and get it into the truck. What I'm doing here is setting it all up so we can go over it before we start tearing it down. And this is just going to be kind of my thought process on everything. So first things first, these doors, they're like tin cans. Toyota doesn't put hardly any sound deadening. There's some on the floor, very little strips in the door. It's just doesn't sound good. The roof, when it rains, it sounds like a tin can. It's just horrible. The KM3s, they've been great. They've got about 20,000 miles on them, flat as can be, and that's because I rotate every 5,000 miles. When you do that, you stay on top of them, they stay flat. They're pretty quiet, but being a mud terrain, it is gonna make some noise. So what I notice the most is I get a lot of noise from the back of the cab. I feel like this wall hardly has any sound deadening, and we'll see when we take it apart, but that's just going to be my guess, is that this wall makes the biggest difference. Now on third gens, you have two vents in the center of the cab, and there's a few mods that those guys do to quiet it down. But on the second gens, there's a vent behind this pillar on the passenger side. And so what I'm going to do is, you've got the pillar wall and you've got the inner structure, and there's an air gap. So I'm going to put some like milk crate foam in there and try to just like dampen the noise a little bit before it gets into the cab. That's going to be my thought process on quieting this down. Now I did take a little, I forgot now, it's been a long time, but I don't know if it was a screenshot or a recording of me driving on the freeway at normal highway speeds using the NIOSH app. I'll put a picture of it in the corner so you can see. And then we're going to hopefully use that same app after each step. So maybe we'll get the back wall done on this video, drive it around, do some tests, see if it lowered. We'll do the doors, the roof, the floor. I want to do a recording on each one and see where it improves the most, but I don't know. It just depends on how this thing comes apart. If it's all apart and I have to just do it all, I'm probably going to do that for making my life easier. But we'll still have the final, test, and we'll be able to see before and after true. Now, since we're taking off the door panels, I've already changed these speakers on all four doors, and I put component speakers in the front. So I don't know why, but Toyota's stock tweeter, it kind of like takes some audio from the front door, but it's like a filter. It's not a true single speaker with, one intention of highs. So I put a component in there, but what I noticed is when you put really good speakers with a subwoofer on the stock head unit, it is absolutely horrendous. It sounds muffled. The bass hits hard. There's hardly any mids, hardly any highs, and that's because you're putting a speaker that's meant to have power with no power. So you're not getting the actual sound that the speakers are capable of. So since we're going to take it all apart, I ended up getting another amp. This amp is going to power the two front door speakers at 100 watts each, and then the rear sub's going to be 300 watts, and that's at 4 ohms. And those are two 8-inch subs in one box. Anyways, the speakers are just hanging in the door. There's really not a lot going on as far as kind of getting that audio to push back. Everything with speakers and audios is all sound waves. So I got these guys. It's got two purposes. One, for moisture so it doesn't get onto the speaker. And two, it kind of directs the air out into the cab, and then you've got, you know, the punch going back, which is where we're gonna have the Dynamat. These are foldable as well, so you can, and they've got lips on them, so you can fold them in and get them away from the door. You don't want it too long. So that's gonna be front and back. And then of course we got Dynamat. Why did I choose Dynamat? Because it's the best. There's a bunch of other brands, but you know, to me, if I'm gonna do all this work, I'm gonna put some high quality, made in USA stuff that I know works. You know, guys are using them in, you know, $100,000 muscle car builds, and I'm just not gonna cheap out on the Dynamat. So I got an Xtreme Mega Pack. It's got 72 square foot. I hope that's enough. If not, we can order some more in smaller quantities. And then last but not least, we've got Dynaliner. So on the Dynaliner, this is what's going to actually reduce your road noise. There's other ways of doing it. Some people use like those really thick, I think it's called MLV mat. It's super thick, it's kind of bulky, but this is sold in a few different sizes. So it tells you right here, you've got 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, what it's good for, you know, best use, can be used, do not use. So I think I got 1 box of the 1/2 inch, 2 boxes of 1/4 inch, and 1 box of 1/8 inch. And so you're gonna put this on top of the Dynamat, and you want hopefully full coverage. And so you can see here, so this is like the roof, you've got the door, just showing your hinges and the one speaker, so you're kind of covering everything. You can put it on your hood and the floor. So I don't know if I got enough of this stuff, but it's relatively cheap and easy to get. You can get it on Amazon almost next day or a couple days. So I just bought a little bit to see where we're gonna be at for now. But basically that's the gist of it. We're gonna do the back first. I don't know how far we'll get, but we're gonna do the back first. Maybe I could just get that wall done and we'll finish this video. Other than that, let's get started. We'll quit yapping away and we'll get to work. Okay, so I got all my junk cleared out, and I'm just gonna show you real quick how to take these seats off. So in the front, you've got these 2 bolts, which are gonna be holding this 30% half, and then the 70% is gonna have bolts as well. So you can take them off like that and then just lift it out, or take them off right here. It's up to you. And then on the back seats, there's going to be a cover. It is this guy right here, and that's gonna hold a bolt here, a bolt here, and it's going to be the same on that as well. Jumping over to the other side is actually where we've got the subwoofer stashed, so we'll show you that. So that was a custom box that was made for this little piece right here, and we got rid of that big plastic chunk that was right there. I've actually got it in the garage and I've been meaning to cut it to fit so it looks cleaner. And we might get to that on this project, we'll see. But you can see the cap right here, and there's a cap over there in the corner. So we're going to time lapse this and get these seats out of here. Just trying to do the back, and then it starts trickling down into everything. So we got the rear speaker out, the subwoofer's gone, that cubby's out, seat bottoms, seat tops, and if you look over there, you see that little kick out. It was hiding some of the wall, and that's basically just about like right here past was hidden. So we got to take these off, but in order to take these off, we got to take this off. And with the truck being up there a little bit in age, we're gonna get some of these clips that fail on us. So there's one up there that broke. This one's still in good condition, so we have to pop it out and slide it back onto here. But I'm probably just gonna order a handful of these anyways, and we'll obviously be cleaning all this stuff up before it goes back together. And we'll also be shampooing the seats, cleaning the carpet. All this stuff is gonna be super, super clean before it goes back. But for now, let's get started on this back wall. And I was taking apart this side and just realized there's a little tab right here that tucks behind the weather strip. So just do yourself a favor, pull it off, and save yourself a headache. It also covers a good amount of this, so it'll be easier to disassemble. So I'm going to do that. And also, if you're going to tackle the headliner, this does overlap onto the headliner, so at some point I need to take this entire weather strip off. Okay, let's open this thing up and see what we got. Hopefully it's still good after all this time. I don't see why not. That's cool. It's got some protection in case I cut through. Oh, this looks good. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 sheets. 9 of these sheets. It's not as thick as I thought it would be, but from all my reading, the material is where the money's at. So you could get a cheaper one that's way thicker and feel like it's going to do more work, but in reality, it's going to be the same as this thinner material that is lighter. So one sheet of this isn't so heavy, and I'm not going to be weighing down the truck. So I do a lot of research and try to figure out a game plan when modding this truck. And this is the best stuff that I came across. So we are going to bring it in the back of the truck, check out the back wall, and see what our game plan is on this. Now, this one sheet looks like we should be able to do the whole wall. We're gonna have to cut it, make it look nice and pretty. And the most important thing about sound deadening is to lay it out smoothly, correctly. You don't want to try to put a piece from here to here and have a little air gap. That's just rushing it, doing lazy work. You've got to go through and get everything down. This stuff needs to be touching the metal. So if you're not doing that, you're really wasting your time and not being efficient. Now, I see people do Dynamat here or sound deadening all over the whole thing 100%, maybe a little excessive. I won't be doing that. I'll be doing probably 90 to 95%. It's still going to be very effective, but I don't want to just throw this stuff all over the place. I want it to look like a neat job, even though we're going to be covering it up. So we're going to have to, get a game plan on this, figure out where we're going to cut it out before we get it all laid out. So that's where a lot of the time's going to be on this project for the truck. And you might be wondering how we're going to get this done without getting ourselves in a huge mess. So these are going to be dies. A lot of these will be for the drain plugs on the floor, but basically we'll lay it out, hammer it down, and get a nice cutout on our Dynamat. And we've got various shapes and sizes. Shout out to Cavalry Pro, my buddy. He sent me those so I could use them. And we're using transfer paper. So transfer paper is going to be taped onto the back wall. We'll cut it out with scissors and an X-Acto knife. Once that's ready, we can peel it off this backing paper, lay it onto the Dynamat, do our cutouts that we need to do, and then we've got Dynamat that's prepped and ready to go onto the back wall. I've already sprayed it down with Simple Green, but before we put it on, we'll be wiping it down with 99% isopropyl alcohol. Now that you've seen the method to my madness, maybe you're just realizing why I've waited a year to do this. Because I knew the whole time it was going to suck. It's going to take forever, but it's going to look good and it's going to be worth it. So we got the driver's side top, and this is the cutout for the seat bracket. I want the bracket bolted to the metal, not over Dynamat. So we're going to cut that out, and then we'll just do a straight line and cross right here. And then we'll do, let's see, so straight line, cross over here, cut this out, join them in the middle, and we'll have one nice piece on the very top. Now I'm just gonna show you my whole method on that top piece, and then we'll flash forward to the whole wall being done. Otherwise, this video is gonna be hours and hours long. Clean the back wall with some alcohol and get it ready to lay down. So if my calculations are correct, these will be able to be bolted on, and we can slide the Dynamat layer right over it. So let's see. Let's see how good we did on the first shot. All right, so I got this as the driver's side. Beautiful. Do a little tape line here just so I can show you guys. And this side. There we go. And they both line up perfectly. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it on one whole long strip. I thought that big sheet was going to be enough. I would have liked the logos to not meet in the middle, but what can you do? Either way, it's going to be in the back. No one's going to see it. No one's going to see any of this work, really. But it's just nitpicky things I would have liked to dial in. Now, I could have went super OCD and cut on every logo, but I'm not even going down that road because it's already taken me this long just to get here. So we're going to take these, let's see, so we'll leave the brackets on and we'll roll these things on. Okay, that is the first part of this project done. Check this out. So we've got the brackets, which bolt up beautifully, right? The only thing I overlooked was these holes are for the plastic cover to clip in. So before I rolled it down, I was able to cut it out and peel it off, and I did the same all the way across. That one, the plastic's not in because of the subwoofers, but we could always put it in later. And if you want to check this out as well, we've got the bracket right here. So that's what the seat clips into when it rolls back. All we have to do is the rest of this and we're done. So like I said before, it's very boring, time consuming. You've got to roll it all on. Be careful that you don't slice yourself with this metal because it is paper thin and will cut you. That's already happened once. But hopefully these are easier and go quicker because it's just a huge piece. And I'll probably do maybe the front of this as well, but it sounds a little thin, but we'll see. We'll get cracking and finish this up. Okay, so this is my progress after probably 3 hours. It is taking a long time, but what I did on the top was I did 70% strip and then a 30% That was as long as I can get it. What I'm starting to do on these second and third rows is a full length strip from the sheet and center it, and then I'll do the sides, which on the top it wasn't a big deal. It was actually okay the way I did it, but on these rows with these ridges for strength in the actual cab, when you start in the center, it actually loses length by the time you get through all the ridges. You lose length, so it's a good idea that I did this. We did have to cut around each bracket. Took a little bit of time, but tracing it out and transferring over, super easy. And then obviously you want to get full contact with the pad onto the paint, so we had to wheel everything on. Now we just have to do these side pieces, the C-pillar, and then we'll be ready for the Dynaliner. All right, this is what I'm calling done. We've got top, middle, bottom done, and this center row got a little strip. There's nothing on the bottom, nothing on the top, but that's because some parts sit tucked in the recess and I don't want to narrow that space down. But other than that, it looks great. We're really coming to the end of this job, and now it's onto the Dynaliner. So like I said before, that's a vibration dampener. This is actually a noise reducer from what they say. You can see it right here on the box. But anyways, we're using the 1/4 inch thick on the center and the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up this video. I put a bunch of Dynamat and Dynaliner on, which I'll show you right now, but I did flip the Tacoma around in the driveway. That way I can get all 4 doors open. When it's nose in, I can't get the passenger front open all the way, and I need to, so that way I can get the seats out. So flipped it around in the driveway, and we'll be doing all of the disassembly of the rest of the interior. But for now, let's see all the progress we made today. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So we got top row, middle, bottom, and then I'm just calling this the center rib, I guess. That's all Dynamated. And then I went ahead and put Dynamat on the C-pillar, which is going to be right here. And I put a little bit inside as well. So we can see over there, it's inside. And there is some Dynaliner, which is on top of as much of the Dynamat as we can put. The Dynaliner is a closed cell rubber. That's what they call it. I don't really see a lot of other companies offering that. They call it a closed cell foam. So I'm not sure what the difference is, but right here we're using 1/4 inch. I'm probably gonna finish this off with 1/8 inch Dynaliner around it on here too, but I'm gonna wait till we get further into the project before I do those last 2 bits. But for now, the places that I know we have space, I'm doing the 1/4 inch. We've got 1/2 inch for the floor, and we're gonna do 1/4 inch on the roof. So I don't know how many boxes I'm gonna need, but I got 9 sheets of Dynamat. I'm probably gonna need 9 rolls of Dynaliner. Anyways, now that that's all done, there's a big sound difference. You could hear it pretty good compared to the way it was. And I do have the 2 8-inch subs, so those should be hitting harder and cleaner without a bunch of resonance in the cab, sorry. So the game plan is to take off the B pillar trim, the A pillar trim, drop the headliner, get that full of Dynamat and 1/4 inch Dynaliner, put it back on, and that way I could focus on the floors and the doors. So headliner will be the next video. Then we'll do either floors or doors after that, and then vice versa depending on which one I do. But I also have to get some of the audio wrapped up when we do the floor. So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but for now I'm just stoked on this progress, and I can't wait to hear how it sounds when it's all complete. And like I always say, like and subscribe, share it. All three make a huge difference on the channel. Check out my other videos. I have a bunch of videos on this truck and other projects. And stay tuned because I will be rolling out a few more videos in the upcoming weeks.